And after the whole class discussion, students are engaged in a matching activity, for example, such as this one. They share work, which is a great way to really reason, discuss the problem, ask each other questions. And after that, we would again go back to maybe whole class discussion when the teacher summarizes some things, because as students work on the matching activity, the teacher walks around, makes notes, observes, and again looks for those misconceptions, asks the guiding questions. And at the end of the day, we give the pre-assessment back to the students and ask them to improve their answers. So this formative assessment lesson comes through this full cycle. It includes all the different parts. It includes the directed teaching. It includes whole class discussions. It includes group work. It includes individual work. It's a perfect balance of all the different strategies. Now that we have talked about this, I would like for us to go straight to matching dominoes. You could try either one, because I guess it depends on how familiar students are with dominoes, with the concept of matching one side of the domino with the other side, right? Like they would look like this. You would cut them. Like F would include the algebraic part and the graph. Then the algebraic part on F and the graph do not go together. No, the graph needs to match something else. So it's like you make a chain. The end, you piece it together. The end of one domino matches the beginning of another. And you create a chain. The only thing that I liked, well, one of the main things I like about the domino activity is that it's almost like students could check themselves in a way, because this creates a loop. If you do it as a domino activity,
it's have a loop.
Correct. Yeah. But as Sally suggested, we can simply match. Let's match today quadratic graphs with the corresponding algebraic representations. And if you notice, some of these cards have blanks. So that would be a good time for you to discuss with each other, how would we fill in the blank? Could you write a reflection here about how you will use this in the classroom, and maybe some aha moments that came out of this task? If you could write a couple of sentences even here, that would be great, because then when I ask others to come look at your work, when you're looking at theirs, they can see your thoughts.
We could.
Which is a standard
It
that we have
is.
to address. We're about to start our gallery walk. What I've asked each of you to do was, each group, was to write some sort of reflection, describe your aha moment, write some strategies you would use with this task in your classroom. How will you use? Will you even use it? So let's take a gallery walk. What I'd like for you to do is to get up from your seats and visit other groups. See what they have written. Compare your reflections. If you want to leave them feedback, feel free. Start writing on their charts.
Characteristics. Because I think most of, like right now.
And then you got your mini.
So what did you find
That's a great idea.
interesting here?
And can you give me all the
Well,
characteristics?
we started off with the direction the parabola
Uh-huh.
opened. That's the ones we did first.
Okay.
And that was
the
our
parents
first
And the
aha.
Okay.
parents function, yeah.
Creation, but-
Those were the ones we did first.
And now I would like for each group to share one steal from another. Something that they're like, oh my gosh, that was a great idea. Let's start with your group.
We liked the guiding questions, or the questions that you attached to different graphs on yours. We liked how you had thought, okay, they may figure out what goes with this, but how can I take it to the next level? Why is this the way it is? The one that had no roots, why does this have no roots?
Hardest things for students to do or discuss. what is this graph showing you? What is it happening to this graph in the end behavior? And there's so many things on here, the maximum, the minimum, the transformations that are happening. There's so many things you can learn with just this
Just
one
this one
task.
task.
I like how they said they called attention to multiple ways of writing the same graphs and equations. We sometimes when we do that, we forget that. So we could, next step, we sort of group them and look at the trends within the graphs and point out certain particular things.
Just to summarize this, what do you think about the task? Is it doable? Are you going to use it? Beneficial, possibly to students?
Definitely.
I think
You
that's
can
what
use
we're-
it
Definitely use
numerous
it.
times,
Exactly.
you know, because it covers so many different things.
I prefer this version versus the domino. I think the domino would limit you to what you could do with this task, versus the matching piece
Oh.
could allow you more openness to stretch it
Makes
further.
sense.
And I like, you've got the visual, you've got all the ways, but later, you could take the graphs away and say, okay, can you do this? Just keep taking pieces away and.
So use it as a scaffolding tool. And what if next we'll have students create their own matching activity, which would be an extension of the task? Jennifer?
You could pick one of these graphs and ask the students, how many different ways could you represent this function? And then you would see if they could come up with all three ways, or would they go to one?
Absolutely. And then maybe later, maybe they could even create an application problem that goes with the graph.
We brought up, because we were stuck on it just for a little bit, on F, where it was the difference of squares in writing the vertex form, but we were always starting out with writing the zero before they start taking away, where it's x plus 0 squared, until they get used to saying x squared with minus 16.
I think
That was-
this group had the same discussion, almost parallel to yours, about the same thing about being consistent and using the same format until the students are more comfortable